this is the image for the pre-traumatic and the post-traumatic concept. You can make the pause, you can draw again this diagram. Yes, so now see here, the pharyngeal arch structures, they are developing, and then they makes the muscles of this pharyngeal structure. So can you compare this structure? Yes, can you see the thickenings, first arch, second, third, fourth, sixth, these all are making the strip like pattern. Okay, strip like structure. Okay, so first arch is making the first structure here. So this first arch is developing on the both side and making the U-shaped structure. Yes, this first arch, second arch, third arch, they will make the U-shaped structure like the mandible, like the hyoid bone, okay, like the thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage, this all the structure. Now apply this structure, that pharyngeal arches are giving rise to strip like structure. So our next heading, the muscles are also in the same strip like manner. Yes, so here we are going to talk about the pharyngeal arch muscles. So what is our next heading? Pharyngeal arch muscular component, muscles. So first we are talking about the first arch muscle. Yes, now try to think, this is the first strip, you can correlate with this diagram. So what are the structures which are getting developed in the first strip part? That is the just diagrammatic presentation animation. I am telling you where the first arch is located. Just keep the hand over this mandibular part. So what are the muscles in this part? Yes, the first muscle, temporalis, when you will dissect out. Second muscle, there is the masseter. When you will dissect out this ear part, inside there is the few muscles of the ear. But before that, when you will remove this mandible, there is the pterygoid bone, which is related with the medial pterygoid and the lateral pterygoid muscle. What I want to tell you, the first arch is giving rise to the 4 muscles of mastication along with the muscles which are situated inside the ear also. Yes, they are the tensor tympani and the tensor palatini. One muscle is responsible for the tension over the tympanic membrane and another is tensing the palate also. So here is the list. But now see, this lower part is related with the floor of the mandible also. So what are the muscles at the floor of the mandible? Yes, there is the digastric muscle. The digastric muscle is having the entry belly and the posterior belly. The entry belly is having attachment with the mandible, while the posterior belly is taking origin from the mastoid process. So this entry belly is near the first arch. So the entry belly is also derived from the first arch. And yes, see here, just near the mandible, there is a floor of the mouth. Yes, the floor of the mouth is formed by the mylohyoid muscle. So this mylohyoid is also near the first strip. So these are the 8 muscles. Again, I am telling you 4 muscles of mastication. You can revise, you can remember, you can keep this all the facts for the long term memory. Yes, how? Just keep the hand. So temporalis, masseter, medial pterygoid, lateral pterygoid. Then muscles near the ear. Yes, what are the muscles? Tensor tympani and the tensor palatini, TT and TP. And then you have to remember the entry belly of digastric and the mylohyoid. So here is one another trick. 4 muscles of mastication and 4 other muscles you can remember by the MAT, and they are the 2T. M for A for entry belly of digastric, and T for tensor palatini, and T for tensor tympani. So these are the 8 muscles. Now we are going to remember what are the other muscles getting developed by the second arch. So yes, now prepare the second arch muscles. Second arch muscles. Yes, the second arch just below to it. Yes, means neck, and again the few part of the ear. So which is the muscle of the neck? Platysma. And what are the muscles inside the ear? Do you remember? Stapedius is one another muscle. And in the neck part, do you remember? Entry belly of digastric was the first arch, but the posterior belly of digastric, it is coming in the neck part. So what I am telling you? Platysma, stapedius, and another is the posterior belly of digastric. Now see, the few muscular element of the second arch, they spreads all over the face and makes all the muscles of the facial expression. Means whatever the muscles of the facial expression, you can see that previous video. Yes, frontalis, you can say the zygomaticus major, zygomaticus minor, all the muscles of the facial expression except levator palpebris superioris, all are again developing from the second arch. So what are the muscles getting developed from the second arch? Okay, one more muscle I want to mention. One muscle is coming from the styloid process into the hyoid. Again it is running in the neck part. So this is the stylohyoid muscle. So now you can prepare the notes for the second arch muscle. Yes, second arch muscles. You can remember with the, I told you the concept, but now I am going to tell you the trick. How can you retain this all the facts for the long term memory? Yes, your trick is the SPF, sun protecting factor. There are the 2 S and as well as there are the 2 P. Yes, what are the 2 S? S for stapedius. One more MCQ for the stapedius, that this stapedius is the smallest skeletal muscle of the body, and one more S which is taking origin from the styloid process, that's why stylo, and it is getting insertion from the styloid process to the hyoid bone, that's why stylohyoid muscle. Now 2P, what are the 2P? P for, yes, muscle of the neck, that is the platysma, which is also known as the horror or terror muscle, and one more P, that is the posterior belly of digastric. Okay. Now F for facial muscles. So these are the muscles getting developed by the second arch. So these are very important. Each and every fact is MCQ. Now again I am telling you another very important MCQ. Yes, suppose this is the hyoid bone, and this hyoid bone is having the insertion of one particular muscle. One is coming from the mandible and another is coming from the mastoid process. Okay, another is coming from the mastoid process. So you can see, suppose this is the mastoid process muscle. Okay, so this muscle is nothing, this is the anterior belly of digastric, while this is the posterior belly of digastric. Okay, diagrammatic presentation. Here is the mastoid process origin and here is the mandibular origin. Okay, here there is the one common fibrous pulley. Over these muscles are making hook. So now you are knowing that anterior belly of digastric is derived from the first arch, and the nerve of the first arch is, your answer is the mandibular nerve. That's why anterior belly of digastric must be supplied by the nerve of the first arch, that is the mandibular nerve. MCQ. Now see, the posterior belly of digastric, it is developing from which arch? Your answer is the second arch. Okay, and the nerve of the second arch is nothing, that is the facial nerve. So posterior belly of digastric must be supplied by the which nerve? Your answer is the facial nerve. So what I want to tell you, yes, digastric is very special muscle which is having the dual nerve supply, and such kind of the muscle which are having the dual nerve supply, they are known as hybrid muscle, also known as composite muscle. So very important MCQ. Yes, the only hybrid muscle of the neck, your answer is digastric. Okay, and remember Hilton law, as I told you in my YouTube video. Yes, the particular nerve of particular region will supply all the muscles of that region. So the nerve of the first arch, mandibular nerve. So all the muscles developing from the first arch, they will get innervation by the mandibular nerve. And in the same way, the nerve of the second arch, facial nerve. So all the muscles getting innervation, all the muscles getting developed by the second arch, they are supplied by the nerve of the second arch, that is the facial nerve. Just the Hilton law, kindly look my the YouTube videos. Okay, so after this all, one more fact, just in front of the mastoid process there is the one bony elevation, cylindrical projection, that is the styloid process. Yes, this is the styloid process. So muscle which is taking from origin from the styloid process and running towards the hyoid bone, diagrammatic presentation. So this muscle is known as the stylohyoid. Yes, it is also the muscle of the second arch. How can you remember? Yes, posterior belly of digastric and the stylohyoid, they are very close together. Both are derived by the second arch. So both are supplied by the nerve of the second arch, that is the facial nerve. So this is another very beautiful correlation. Why? Because in each exam they will ask what is the nerve supply of the tensor tympani, what is the nerve supply of the tensor palatini. You have to correlate, because the tensor tympani and tensor palatini, they are taking origin from the first arch. That's why they must be supplied by the nerve of the first arch, that is the mandibular nerve. Okay, so now we are going to see the another part, third arch muscle. Yes, now we are going to talk about the third arch muscle. Okay.